So you're listening to Makin Mighty, the Challenger Sessions. I'm Simon Greenwood-Haigh. I'm joined by my co-host, Scott Cramner. This is a show where we talk honestly about challenger brands and what it takes to build challenger brands, from some of the creative decisions behind it, some of the challenges they may face, and we'll get into some discussions from stuff we've seen in the industry, stuff we've done. But yeah, I mean, how do we know each other, mate?
Yeah, I think I first met you at the bottom of a pile of men playing rugby, didn't I?
You're not the only one to meet me there, but yeah.
So yeah, we've played rugby for a little while, and then yeah, obviously a few years ago when I went freelance, we started working together on a more professional basis, shall we say. So yes,
Less piles of men.
Yeah, less piles of men.
Yeah.
So yeah, Simon was obviously at AB Foods at the time, and I'm a content creator. So video, animation, print, that sort of stuff. So yeah, we've had 3-4 years working together properly.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Lots of challenger type stuff, lots of stunts we've done.
Yeah.
You've had loads of fucking weird requests off me that you've just run with, which is ace.
Yeah. Can you brand a narrowboat? That's probably one of the biggest ones I've had. Or
yeah, I mean...
Can you turn Bridgewater Place into a can of peanut butter?
The answer is yes, always from Scott, which is why we work so well together. But yeah, cool. So there's going to be a few co-hosted episodes where we're going to chat through a few topics. So in this episode, the Beauty and the Beast are going to get into looking versus being premium. A lot of brands, when they set out, will talk about we're a premium brand, we're targeting ABC1 shoppers, but premium isn't a word that you put on a strategy doc, it's something you be. And I think very dangerous when you fall down and you talk about premium and quality, and if you don't deliver all the way through the process, I think it's really fucking dangerous to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
But common in the challenger space, I think.
Yeah, and I think you know, like moving into that challenger space, you know, as we've always discussed, like it's a good place for learning, and particularly with the brand side of things, I think like packaging and stuff like that. And then, you know, that's where you can not make mistakes, but that's where you can be a bit more challenging, shall we say, in terms of obviously changing the look and feel. I think one place where you can't really challenge is like end-to-end service. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, a classic example of this is we bought a bottle of Bativo a couple of weeks ago. Shout out Alex Smith. You know, it's dry January. Obviously, I don't know when this episode will go out, but right now it's dry January. Yeah. And we were looking for an alternative to drink instead of booze after we'd filled ourselves over Christmas. And obviously Bativo is a drink we've tried before, so we ordered some, and I think that end-to-end service from them is probably as important as the look. Like they look like a premium brand, but they're like being premium from end to end with our customer service is probably way more important. So we received an email after the order, which you generally do from any purchase. But then like a few days before it came out, got an email saying it had been shipped. And then as soon as it arrived, we got an email saying, here's some things you could do. And like the box was really nice and stuff. So I think there's as much of an importance of being premium in the service that you provide, as well as looking premium as well.
Yeah, and I think that, particularly on D2C, that consumer journey, there's a really good book called Delivering Happiness about Zappos, and that their point of difference, selling fucking shoes, but their point of difference was customer service. And they would hammer that home in every situation. And there was a story where I said, look, you can ring us up and ring our customer service and ask for anything, that somebody took to the nth degree and was like, right, I'm going to fucking order a pizza then. And because he trained his team that customer service is everything, this buyer who's going to place a massive order ordered a pizza and got a fucking pizza, which is a ridiculous example, but it was all about delivering happiness, and that being the experience from when you first interact with the brand to when you buy the product, and ultimately you're going to be happy with that. But almost the concierge service, which like you're talking about, it wasn't just a transaction.
Yeah.
It was delivered, and the premiumness, and that would have cost them fucking nothing.
Yeah.
You know, that's a couple of campaigns on Klaviyo or whatever. It's not a costly thing, but it's thought through and matters. Some people won't open that email.
Yeah.
but a lot of people will and just feel like they've been cared for throughout the process.
Yeah, and I think that's the important, like you said, that customer journey. Like we are, as humans, I would say we are moving at a very fast pace all the time. And, you know, stuff like Amazon and what have you, like they are probably the king of transactional. You know,
the stuff chucked over your fence and smashed.
Yeah, you
cheap.
order and you can have it in the same day, and that's fine. And sometimes that's like a necessity. You know, people want stuff quick, but particularly when you're buying stuff, obviously it's different when you're buying it from the supermarket shelf because you can't offer that service. But equally, then you know, if you're selling online, that service almost becomes like a second gift. As you were, you know, like you're buying that product, that's the first delivery of happiness, shall we say.
Yeah.
But then, you know, after that, you're constantly getting reminded. And don't get me wrong, like there's also that double-edged sword to that you're staying in the mind of the buyer for some time. So, you know, you're constantly probably pushing another purchase at some point. And, you know, ultimately that's what it's all about, right? Like, you wanna...
Yeah, and I think particularly at the minute, but it goes in kind of economic waves with the cycle. But premium right now, when we're in a period where the middle is getting squeezed of the kind of market, you want to either be adding value and be a premium product, but delivering on that value, or you want to be a cheap as chips product. So if you're going to go into a market and say we're premium, we're going to add value, you have to deliver on quality, but you have to deliver that premium messaging all the way through. And you know, you see particularly in food and drink where brands have a premium price, but not necessarily a premium margin. So if you're just going to drive up basket spend, but not help everybody along the supply chain make more cash, it doesn't quite work. And you know, we're definitely in a world now where design and packaging in particular, it can't be over-engineered. So it's a challenging environment as a brand to be in. Because to deliver on premium, sometimes you think about, you know, opening an iPad or something where the box doesn't quite fit properly, so it takes a while, the anticipation builds, all that jazz. That has to be done with the sustainability in mind, with the not over packaging. But if you're going to set yourself stall out as a premium brand, you have to deliver in the experience as well.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned Bativo, it's not cheap.
No.
So if that doesn't deliver when you get it, you're not paying that money again.
No, and I think, yeah, I mean, that's right. Like, there's plenty of other alternatives out there.
But it's good value. That's the point. Because you don't mind paying that money as long as the experience you get is premium.
Yeah, exactly.
And the value versus price is two different things. But as long as it delivers, you'll pay the price.
Yeah, it delivers. I mean, I've not had a drink since the start of January, so... And
that's all thanks to Bativo.
So yeah, I mean, for me, like their packaging is great as well. So yeah, it's kind of a double edge, I guess, in that respect. That particularly if you're having something delivered and it turns up and it's an experience rather than just, again, we referenced Amazon, a memory card turning up in a 4 foot by 4 foot box is, you know, it's been well thought out, the packaging, and it's probably something we could pick up on design wise in a different episode. But
and I think about some of the things I've received as a buyer. So sample boxes, you know, would I'd get, I don't know how many a day, 4 or 5 different boxes a day, and the majority of them, if they made it up to my desk, would be a brown, boring cardboard box with, you know, your Amazon sticker on the top or whatever courier sent it. It'll be packed with a bit of care. Maybe they've put a handwritten note in or whatever. But if you're telling me you're a premium brand, deliver me something different. Make sure I get the experience that you want the consumers to get, and you're telling me you're doing. You know, it's and on the flip side, I'd receive things from usually big corporates. I still remember it was a baking brand. They'd sent me this thing about the MPD, and I opened this. It was for like bicarbonate soda or some shit. And I opened this really well-designed box that as I opened the flaps, like this little TV screen popped up and played the advert, and I was like, what the fuck is this? You want me to sell a product for 80p and you spent all your money on this thing? Yeah. Like, it has to fit with your brand and not be jarring. So if you're going to be premium,
yeah,
but don't over-engineer if that's not your lane.
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah, although I do think that like that first sort of customer interaction for me, like I remember back in the sort of early 2000s agency world, like, you know, if we were pitching to a client, oh my God, we were doing all sorts. You know, I think we pitched to Armitage Shanks at one point, you know, the people who make their bogs and sinks and stuff. And we actually had this like tap engineered onto like a plaque, and it was all engraved and everything with like our MD's email address on and stuff like that. And it was like, yeah, like can you imagine that turning up on your desk at Armitage Shanks? Like, oh, just another tap. But yeah, it's kind of that like shock and awe moment. I know we've done a few bits of packaging where, you know, there's been a lot going to sort of that first initial experience, because ultimately like that's where you're, as a consumer, myself, like that's where the journey begins for me. If I open a bit of food and it's packaged in a nice way, or, you know, there's something different about it, then it kind of like always sort of goes back to that beginning of the journey. Every time I get that out to cook with it or something, I'm always like, oh yeah, this came in a nice box. Or so yeah, I think like you said, that look in premium is good, but you've also got to follow that up with being premium.
Yeah. You know, for the example you used there with the bogs, like that, if that was what you wanted to deliver for that brand, if you were going to put them on a fucking plaque and that was going to be part of it, then that's you showing up how you want to be seen, which is great. It doesn't always have to be posh. Premium doesn't mean posh. It means adding value, and whatever you do should show up in the way that you're going to say you're going to show up. So if you're going to be the most sustainable product and you send me a load of stuff that's in bubble wrap, then that doesn't fucking work. Yeah. But it comes back to being thought through, and if you're going to say you're premium, be premium. Yeah. So thanks for listening. If you found this episode useful, please share it with somebody in the industry, another challenger brand, somebody who's trying to build something, and hopefully they can learn something and take value from it. You can follow us, follow the podcast, follow us on social media for more conversations like this. Future episodes will have guests, we'll have different topics, and hopefully we'll be really getting under the skin of challengers and what makes them tick and how you can act and operate like a challenger. We're also going to be shaping future episodes around real questions that founders have got. So if there's something you want us to dig into, whether that's brand, sort of growth, retail, positioning, send it in and we'll try and cover it off in future episodes. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next time.